Evening, everybody, and welcome along to your Monday night Rangers Ramble women's show podcast. I'm in the chair tonight. Brian's away doing some family stuff, as family always comes first. Which he took a bit of convincing that that's the case, but that is the case. So it's just the three of us tonight. I'm joined tonight by Laura. Laura, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good, and obviously Car hiding at the bottom there.
I did thanks. Well, for you.
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. So, we're here ostensibly to talk about Saturday night's Cup quarter final against Motherwell at K Park in East Kilbride, which was my first visit to K Park. It's a quaint little place. Not as cold as I was led to believe it was going to be. But I don't think it was that cold. It was very, very cold by the end of the game, I'll have to say. It was getting cold by the end of the game, but before the game, it wasn't too bad. So, Laura, what did you we'll go into the game, we'll break it down a bit, obviously, as we usually do. What did you make of the overall performance on Saturday night? And the very fact it was on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think it was quite good. We Saturday night game under the lights for a wee change. Was good, and obviously it meant that it wasn't clashing with the men's game, which was good. A bit of joined up thinking, as you always say. But yeah, I think we played really well. Probably maybe could have scored another couple of goals because we always like us scoring goals. But overall, I think the players are doing really well. I think Wilco and Rio Hardy are getting a good partnership. I think Jodie's doing really back in the kind of right wing back position she's playing. So Joe's finding positions and partnerships and that. And we seem to be back on the kind of ascendancy a bit again after the kind of slump that we had recently. So it was good.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I've got a little theory about the slump and things like that that I haven't mentioned yet. And Car, decent crowd for a Saturday night. I thought they were vindicated having it on the Saturday night because I don't know what K Park holds, but it was quite full.
I mean, I think it's the most full that I've seen K Park. Fair enough, I've only been there when we've been there, but it's never been that busy before. So I think having it on Saturday night did help things. The fact that there was no men's games on, people went along because it was there and it was an auction, which if you build it, they'll go, I suppose. So it worked out. They never announced the attendance, which is quite annoying, so I would like to know what it was, but we'll probably never know.
Yeah, I mean, it did appear that there was a bit of a shambles getting in. We were lucky we were there before the turnstiles opened, so we got in quite sharp, but somebody said just as it was approaching kickoff, there was still a queue up the street. So, and they did apologise at half time for the technical issues that they had getting folk in. So, by the way, there only seems to be one way. And I'll say my first time there only seems to be one way in. So if they do have an issue at the turnstile, then it's an issue at the turnstile because it is the only way in. But anyway, the team on Saturday, for anybody that's not aware of it, because it wasn't available to watch anywhere, although Rangers have obviously subsequently put the highlights out. We had Vic Esson in goal. We had the back four of Docherty, Eddie, Medag, and McCleary. Midfield, sort of, I don't know, four, would you say? McLean, Devlin, McLaughlin, and Hay. And Hardy and Wilco up front. Car, as Laura says, some decent partnerships beginning to develop with the team that Joe's putting out on a sort of regular basis.
Yeah, and I think the change in formation has helped a wee bit with that. Going 4-4-2 instead of having Kirsty or whoever in behind has helped. I think the two strikers work well together, but they don't get in each other's way now, whereas before with the three of them, they're kind of getting in each other's way and it was getting a bit bogged down. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come, that Joe's going to stick with that formation and those players. You could interchange quite a few of them, to be fair, and they'd probably be okay, but I think that team's probably the most attacking, bar maybe having Kathy in the back line instead of Tess, if we want to do it that way, but obviously she was out getting rested or whatever she was out with.
Yeah, she was getting rested so she could win at half time. So it was nice to see that it was just a kind of, taking her out from doing 90 minutes because obviously we're probably going to need Kathy next week. But again, we'll touch on next week a little bit later because I think there's a little bit of a small game happening next Sunday. So Laura, we started off obviously on the front foot and fairly early into the proceedings. Leah Eddie, we think, get our first goal for Rangers.
Yeah, she's claiming it. She was claimed it at the time, so we kind of thought it must have been her that had scored. But obviously, from where we were sitting, we weren't sure if it was her or if it was Liv. And the highlights didn't really do it any justice either because you've only got one angle from where the camera was kind of sitting stationary. So Leah's claimed that the club have gave it to her, so I think we just need to give it to her. But that's her off the mark for us as well, so that's really positive that that's another player chipping in with goals. And I think she'll be quite happy with that one. I think maybe the keeper could have done a bit better, being beat the way she was, but it put us up early and kind of settled the nerves if there was any.
Yeah, Carrie shouldn't be beating the keeper from that sort of angle. I mean, we said to Liv after it because Liv, for anybody that hasn't seen it, the ball, Wilco took a free kick and it broke to Leah Eddy quite wide, and she cut it across the keeper, sort of swarmed under the keeper, and we thought Liv had put it in from on the line, and as Laura says, the camera angle's not great. Where we were sitting, it wasn't great. We actually thought that Liv put it over the line, but at the end of the game, Liv said it was definitely Leah's goal. So we've got to give it to Leah, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, Liv was just making sure that it had, if it hadn't already, that it definitely had. But the angle on that, the fact that that's gone under the keeper and then is shocking from a Motherwell point of view. But from our point of view, it's good that Leah's able to take that shot on, probably across in all actuality, but goes in the back of the net, so you can't be too mad about Leah getting her first goal for the club.
Yeah, and Carl, sticking with you, not long after that, Vicky Essen has a bit of a rush of blood.
I think she just forgot where she was, to be honest. I thought maybe the ball, she thought it was in the box, but I guess it was over the line. She stood on the line and just bent down and picked it up for some reason, not realising where she was, I guess. But it's a yellow card. Some refs might give it as a red card if they're trying to be extra mean, but she got a yellow card for it, which is just as it lapse in judgment or just not really thinking, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think a goalkeeper should always know where she is at all times. Particularly getting towards the edge of the box. It was just a wee bit silly.
Yeah, it just seemed to be that lapse in concentration, but that seems to be what's cost us most of the goals we've scored this season. But personally, I would have preferred Jenna to be in goals to just keep her momentum going. But obviously, she's been the goalkeeper for the last couple of games, done quite well. And then obviously, we've got a small game at the weekend. So I think if she'd been in, it would have kept her momentum kind of going. So the kind of chop and changing is still quite annoying. The keepers, it's like just kind of stick to one. But Vic must now be the kind of cup keeper. So unless Joe's not happy with her for that mistake and kind of penalises her for it.
Yeah, but do you think, we'll move away from the game just for a second since we're on the goalkeeper. In previous sort of spells when Joe's rotated the keeper, she tends to give the cup keeper, if you like, 2 games, then swap it back out again. So do you think she's going to do that and put Vic back in on Saturday, or do you expect on Sunday? Sorry, or do you expect Jenna to be back on Sunday?
After that rush of blood to the head, I don't think she's kind of going to be in there. I think Jenna might come back in, but who knows with Jo? She's kind of not been very consistent with who she's putting in goal, so I don't know. But personally, I would put Jenna back in because she has been doing better recently.
And Carl, would you concur with that, or is there a third young goalkeeper kicking about that might just come out of nowhere?
I mean, Megan Cunningham might be free that night, that day. Might be available to come in. I don't think so. I think it'll probably be Jenna. I think it should be Jenna, which is mental that I'm even saying that. But I think she has shown recently, and in big games, Jenna usually does show up. So I think you're probably better to throw Jenna in there. But as you say, Jo has a habit of giving them 2 games. So I guess we'll see on Sunday what she's going to do. But I'd like to think she put Jenna back in.
So we'll just overlook Jenna coming and punching Thinny last weekend. We'll just overlook that when she came and punched Thinny when Throw scored. Anyway, back to Saturday night. Carr 2-0. Jodie plays the ball to Wilco, who knocks it on to Charlie, who sticks it into the bottom corner. 2-0.
Yep, through the defender's legs, which is always nice when you nutmeg a player in the process of scoring a goal. Charlie's been in and involved in everything the last couple of games, which is nice to see. Took a fair few, I want to say kicks, but she didn't. They missed her, took her out and got the ball. But she got a goal, exactly what you want. Wilco was involved in it again. Just unfortunate that she tried to take the shot, didn't work. But Charlie managed to get it through the defender's legs and pass the goalkeeper and in.
Yeah, and Laura talking about Wilco taking shots. Shortly after that, she has another shot. Keeper knocks it on at the bar. It comes back out, and there's Rio standing 4 or 5 yards out to tap it in.
Yeah, it's what you want your striker to be doing. And I think if that had went in for Wilco, it would have been an absolutely fantastic goal. But Rio being there to kind of pick up the scraps is what you want your striker to be doing. I think that's something Rio does really well. And as I said earlier, they're obviously building up quite a good partnership. If it's no Rio assisting Wilco, it's the other way about. And I think as Paul's touching on there, Rio does so much else in the team as well. Like, she's just, our all-round game's really good. I would probably argue that she's probably our most all-round striker. I think Wilco could be eventually kind of there. She's still obviously kind of new to the Scottish football, but I think Rio has totally earned her place in the team, and she's probably one of the first names on the team sheet for me.
Okay, and Carl, sticking with Paul's comments, because obviously shortly after that we concede the obligatory goal that we seem to concede. Paul saying he doesn't like to be negative from what he's seen in the highlights. Tess is costing us goals. Is that maybe a bit harsh on Tess for Saturday?
Well, I mean, that's the one she absolutely does. She needs to be stronger on the ball there and not get the ball taken off of her. Last week, you could maybe argue for one of them potentially, but it's just our defence that sometimes we get a bit too bogged down and trying to be fancy with it instead of just lumping it up the park and getting out of the danger areas. I don't know why she's done that, and she just gets the ball nicked off of her. And it's a lovely long-range strike from whoever it was that scored it for Motherwell, but we should be doing a lot better there and dealing with that before it gets to that point.
Yeah, we certainly should. So that's 3-1, and Laura, it doesn't say 3-1 for long. That Wilco gets the obligatory Wilco goal.
Yeah, we had kind of been discussing before the game, thinking, oh, she's went off the boil a wee bit, but she proved us wrong when she comes. Obviously gets a couple of goals the first half, I think, and then she got her hat trick the second half. So, yep, she seems to be back and firing, and if she could do the same on Sunday, that would be lovely as well.
Yeah, it would. I mean, Carl, that goal we're talking about, our fourth goal, a great cross from Leah Eddy, who's certainly adding lots and lots to the team since she joined us.
She is, and just before that, Nick ran basically the length of the pitch to get the ball to Leah, who then put the beautiful cross in, and Wilco headers it, because that's just what Wilco does. It's her bread and butter, is heading goals in the middle of the box. But Nick does really well there, and Leah's been a breath of fresh air. We were comparing her to Rachel McLaughlin when she came in, but she's a different player, but she offers us quite a lot, which is nice to see. I think it took her a little bit to kind of settle in, but I think the back four will help more because she'll have more freedom then to get forwards instead of being bogged down and focusing on more defensive and kind of being stuck at the back.
Yep, and then Carl, sticking with you for goal number 5. The third goal was Wilco to Rio. This time it was Rio to Wilco via the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually written this one down, so I can't remember, but I know it's a good cross in from Rio. And Wilco's there to just put it in the back.
Yeah, Rio basically stuck it and the keeper got a hand on it, knocked it to Wilco, who taps it in. I'm sure Laura will tell us all about it. Serious Car hasn't written it down.
Forgot that one.
As we've said, just that good link-up play. They seem to, much like last season when it was Kirsty and Rio kind of linking up. Rio seems to have built that kind of partnership up with Wilco, and obviously crosses it in. And Wilco's a great header in the ball. I think that was something we were lacking, somebody heading balls in. So she does that really well, and obviously it made it really comfortable by that point.
Yep, and Carl, we'll go back to you for goal number 6. Well, 5-1 at half time. So let's knock that in. It was 5-1 at half time. So obviously, second half, a couple of substitutions at half time. Lizzie Arnott came on for Nick Dock, who'd been wiped out just before half time. I mean, for the referee to take no action on after that challenge was just summed up the referee, really, didn't it?
I mean, all of them had a shocker of a game. The ref and the 2 linos were just absolutely abysmal that whole game. But the fact that he didn't give that as a foul was baffling to me. I don't understand what he's seen that he thinks that's not a foul. But Nick's limping off the pitch going at half time because of it. And yet nothing's done about it. But that's just what happens in women's football and Scottish football in general. You can get kicked off the park, but because it's us and we're full time, we'll just let it go.
Yeah, and Laura, the other half-time substitute was Cathy Hill coming on for Tess.
Yeah, good to obviously see Cathy back. I think we were a bit concerned after she went away with Scotland and then came back and wasn't in the team, but she was obviously just getting rested. And then obviously her coming back on at half-time against Motherwell gives her some good minutes ahead of obviously the weekend's games, and I would imagine she'll be back in the team straight away on Sunday. She's obviously one of our best centre backs.
Yep. And then into the second half we go, and goal number 22 and hat-trick number 5 for Katie Wilkinson.
I mean, a hell of a free kick. I mean, I don't know how she does it, but it was said on our pod that it's like is it Johnny Wilkinson, the English rugby captain, that would take conversions, and he would do that, take a few steps back, slide over to the left, and then run up and kick it. Did exactly the same thing, and up and over the wall and past the goalkeeper. I don't know if it comes off the underside of the crossbar, but it goes in the back of the net anyway. But it's a stunning free kick from her, and that's just what she does. And the fact that she just stands there and puts her arms up, like, yeah, that's just what I do. So if she can continue that into Sunday, that'd be very nice.
Yeah, Laura, you've got to love it. You've got to love a free kick thumped at pace off the underside of the bar. You've just got to love that.
Yeah, like that's always satisfying when it comes off like that, because you see so many going here, there, and everywhere. But it seems to be another thing that Wilco's got in her locker. And in terms of scoring, she's great with her head, great with her feet. She's new scoring free kicks. She's just seems to be stick them away every way possible. And again, it gives us another kind of way to score as well. If she's going to be that prolific on free kicks, if we're kind of struggling in a game, particularly the bigger games, and then she steps up for a free kick, it's just another way to get goals to win games. So, yep, that's just exactly what you want.
Yep, and obviously, I mean, going slightly out of chronological order, so I didn't take a note of what time that goal went in. 56 minute, Kirsty Howitt comes on for Charlie Devlin, and to finish off the substitutions, we've got Camille Lafay, who I'm sure is sponsored by somebody that's not too far from here. I've got a feeling Camille's sponsored by somebody that we all know. She comes on for Wilco just as Wilco. In fact, she came on just as Wilco got the hat trick, if I remember rightly. She scored the goal and went straight off. And then 5 minutes after that, Mia McCauley came on for Brogan Hay. So that's all the subs done. And the reason I mention the subs is that goal number 7 is 2 of the subs assisting for my favourite, Liv McLaughlin, to score.
Yeah, I mean, a really good cross in from Lizzie Arnott on the wing. Kirsty kind of heads it back the way and lives at the back post to kind of jump and high kick it into the back of the net. Exactly what you want. You want them to be in and around that area, not offside, which is nice, because the line was having a shocker calling everyone offside constantly that game. But a really good cross, and I think Kirsty's going for the header, but unfortunately it doesn't go in, but lives at the back post to just pop it in like she did in the first half, but it wasn't her goal. So this one counts.
There's the thing, Laura. As I said, at the end of the game, Liv said that the first one was definitely Leah's. Does she say that if she doesn't get that one? If she doesn't tap that in, is she claiming the first one, do you think?
Nah, I think for Leah to get her first goal for the club, Liv scored a few already. I think she would give Leah the goal so that she's been obviously Leah's a Rangers fan as well, so I think she would have gave her the goal. But obviously good that Liv's getting on the score sheet again as well. She's chipped in with a few goals when she can, so it's good that the goals are kind of spread throughout the team, which is always good if the kind of strikers go off the boil a bit, but they seem to be firing as well, so we're doing well.
Yep, and Laura, the scoring is finished towards the end of the game by Kirsty Howitt with a tapping.
Yeah, it's a typical Kirsty Howitt goalie. She's always just in the right place just to tap goals like that home, and I think she was kind of needing that one. I think she's obviously been put back at the team with us changing formation. So for her to get a goal, she's a confidence player, and that's going to do her confidence the world of good for like the upcoming games.
Yeah, Laura's just stole my next question to you. Do you think that's going to do Kirsty the power of good? Because, I mean, Kirsty said to us, I think up at Aberdeen last season, that she would play absolutely anywhere just to get a game for this team. So, getting on, getting some minutes, getting a goal, that's going to boost her confidence a little bit.
Well, I hope so, because she's that kind of player that once she starts scoring, she's all right. She's kind of like Chelsea that way, that once she gets one, she'll just keep doing it. So hopefully that's a sign that she gets that. She's in the right place where she needs to be. Great pass in from Rio. Rio plays it across. Yeah, Kirsty.
Rio plays it across, yeah.
I'm right. Yeah. I can't read my own writing, but exactly what you want. I think it was Motherwell. Was it last season that Tess gave her a penalty, or was that 2 years ago? I don't know. At some point, Tess gave her the penalty when Tess was on for a hat trick to boost her confidence. So hopefully that'll do the same thing this time round. And whether she starts or comes off the bench on Sunday, hopefully she's firing the same way she was in the last minute of the game to go and score a goal or a couple to see out that game for us.
Yeah, and just before we move off the game, I'm not going to mention that I got laughed at last week when I predicted a 7-0 scoreline, because at least I got the gap of goals right. And to let people that didn't see it, Laura wasn't on last week, and it wasn't Brian, so I won't tell you who laughed at me. I did make that point on Saturday night, but to be fair, I was just clutch. I was just hoping more than anything else. We played really, really well, but obviously you have to caveat it, as I've been doing to people since then, that Motherwell's better players, Laura. They just simply couldn't play because they're on loan from us.
Yeah, and I think it shows how good our young talent actually is, because Motherwell's actually having a bad season, but it's mainly because Laura Berry does what Laura Berry does, and that's score goals. Sophie Black obviously got her first goal for them midweek as well, and then obviously Mason Clark's in and out the team, not getting as many minutes as you would like, but when she is on the pitch, she's really good as well. So it just shows how much they're kind of carrying the team, and then when they're taking it out the team, how big a miss they are. So it looks good for us that they're obviously really talented players, but I think Motherwell will be cursing that rule, because they might have done a bit better if they were able to play against us.
Yep. And Paul, to answer your question, I don't remember your prediction, but I'm guessing it was 8-1. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been mentioning it. I wouldn't have thought. So I'm assuming it was 8-1. If it was, well done. I hope we had a few quid on it. So that gets us into the semi-finals, Car. And after yesterday's games, the semi-final draw, which I believe is tomorrow at round about 2:15 on Sky Sports News, same as it was last year, given it's the Sky Sports Cup. The numbers for the semi-final are: number 1 will be Aberdeen, who beat Boroughmuir Thistle 3-1 yesterday, I believe, after being a goal behind. Number 2, our friends that were playing on Sunday, after what I'm guessing was a drab 0-0 draw with Glasgow City that they won on penalties. Although I did learn from my 2 colleagues that prior to going live that they got a perfectly good goal not given during the game, so I didn't laugh too much when I heard that. Number 3 will be Hibs, and number 4 is Rangers. So, Laura, obviously it's going to either be Aberdeen, Celtic or Hibs. So we clearly want a home draw, because you always want a home draw in a cup tie, because the semi-finals aren't neutral to the best of my ability. Best of my knowledge, sorry. So which one of those 3 do you want?
We'll take any of them. We'll really beat any of them. But as you say, definitely a home game. I know you want Aberdeen up your way, but I think you're the only one that wants that, to be honest. So we'll take anybody at home, to be honest. I think we're capable of beating them all on our day. So even if we get Celtic and get them put out early, that we get a nice friendly final day again, that we can just go and have fun. But I think, as we kind of discussed before we went live, that the powers that be will probably try and keep us apart, and it'll be Aberdeen or Hibs that we'll get. But I'm confident with whoever we get, so we'll just see what happens.
Car, there's Laura hinting at balls and freezers and some in cookers, and just to keep them apart. I think that's a slight slur on whoever's going to be making the draw. But you're right, I do think they'll probably keep them apart.
Well, I don't, because we got them in the semi-final of one of the cups last season, and then we beat them at Hampden in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. So it's happened before, it will happen again likely, but I've got a feeling it'll be Hibs in the final again. We'll roll it back to Leslie Arnott's screamer from 40 yards out a couple of seasons ago to go and seal the cup for us again, hopefully. But I don't think it matters, as long as it's not Aberdeen. I'm sick of travelling up that road. I know you do it every day, but I'm sick of going up that road. And I used to live nearly up there, well, further up than that, actually. Yeah. So if we could get a home tie, it'd be nice, or even a wee trip to Edinburgh. I wouldn't be too mad about it.
Well, we can't go to Edinburgh because Hearts are out. We get a trip to Leith, though.
Oh, my apologies.
Just in case Carol's at the door. So, moving away from that, and Laura, before we get on to the little matter of the game on Sunday, Rangers announced today that on Wednesday they're releasing part 1 of a Rangers TV production called Our Journey, with 2 of our young superstars.
Yep, Jodie McCleary and Kirsty McLean special, it seems like it's part 1 of it, so I'm assuming they've had quite a lot that they've had to kind of split it into either 2 parts or multiple parts, because they've known each other that long. But I think it'd be quite good. They're like best pals, so I feel like they'll have quite good banter and stories and that about each other. And it's good that obviously they're highlighting some of our players, regardless of them being the young players, but the players that are coming through an academy and kind of putting a spotlight on them, because people that don't particularly watch the women's team can then watch it and they might then take an interest in it or whatever. So it's good that they're doing these kind of things, and it might get somebody else interested, or a young girl or boy interested, because they're seeing that you can come through the academy and get into the first team, and certainly the women's team anyway.
Yeah, just go back to what we were talking about, Paul. The game is scheduled to be played on the 19th of January, I believe, which is the same weekend as the fourth round of the Men's Scottish Cup. So there could be a wee bit of fixture jiggery pokery going about when the draw gets made, but hopefully they can make it work. That one's one day, one's the other day, or whatever, one Saturday, one Sunday, or whatever. So, but we'll worry about that once it's all done. And obviously the men won't know the fixture till early December, so it's not that far away, I suppose. So there might be a bit of a delay after the draw to tell us when it's actually getting played. But if it's not Celtic, it will definitely be the Sunday, because the other two clubs are part-time and they'll demand the Sunday like Thistle did for the cup final last year. So anyway, Car, back to the RTV Hour Journey. Should be a very, very good watch.
It should. I mean, they've known each other since they were about 6 coming through the academy, so I'm sure they've got some funny stories. If anybody follows them on Instagram or that, whenever it's the Idler's birthday, they're always posting pictures of them being tiny wee lassies with their Rangers shirts on in the training centre, which is always nice to see that they're still together. I'm hoping that it's a hint that they're going to sign contract extensions in January, because it's only a couple of months away. So maybe that's why they've done it, sat them all down, and then in a couple of months we'll get a 5-year deal for both of them. That'd be nice. Probably not going to happen, but for Christian McLean, they would be good.
And Laura, while on Rangers TV, I noticed that they're doing, obviously they've got Joe's press conference on Friday, they'll cover that. And I noticed, looking at the Gers guide just before we come on, that they've got a Rio Hardy doing a piece for the preview of the game on Saturday. So they're, because there's no men's game this week, it's ideal to have a game as big as what it is on Sunday, because they are throwing some resources at the fact that women have got a big game on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's good that obviously they're doing it. It's just a shame that obviously they're kind of, once the men's team's there, obviously the more kind of the resources go towards that it's always kind of, once it's a big game, that they put more on it. Even like Joe's press conference, it's actually a press conference rather than just an interview there. But I suppose these kind of things will grow as the kind of team continues to grow and stuff. So it's good that we're getting these wee things. We'll take them as we get them, and hopefully they continue to do more. Hopefully they get lots of views on Rangers TV and YouTube and wherever else they post it, so that they know people want this kind of content.
Yeah, and Laura, and Carl, the sniper saying the women deserve far more support than what they get at the moment. They're carrying our club domestically and have done for the last couple of seasons. I mean, I get that point, but we've always said, really, since we started doing this podcast, that they'll probably start getting bigger attendance when they start winning things on a regular basis. And we really need to be, winning the treble would be, I don't really want to be using the treble word too early, but doing something like winning the treble would be a hell of a good start.
I mean, it would, and I think it's the Rangers way, isn't it? People don't care unless you're winning things, and then they do. But it's getting better. More people are going to games. Even away games, attendances have started to improve a lot. I mean, look at Dundee United. I think there was 2 of their fans there, and the rest of their crowd was us. So there's definitely a demand for it. People are going along, which is nice, and hopefully that will just continue. It'll be a slow process, but as you say, if we go on and win things and keep winning things season on season, it will grow and it will get bigger, and that's all we can hope will happen.
Yeah, I mean, Laura touched on what Carl said there. It's nice going to, for example, Dundee United, and going over to Hibs and places like that. You notice the amount of folk that are there with the young kids. Parents. We don't necessarily see them at Broadwood, but we see them. They're obviously local to that area, but they're making an effort to go to the game. So the higher profile the game is given, the more chance there is for these people to get going. And then, hopefully the kids enjoy it. They say, "Well, can I go again?" And then they go to Broadwood, and it kind of, it builds up from there.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing as well, there's a good presence of people that are travelling to away games and that as well. You always kind of start recognising the same faces. It used to just be me and Car and a couple of others that were travelling here and everywhere, but now there's a good solid maybe 20-30 people that are constantly going to home and away games. And then people obviously start bringing other kids along, like friends of their children and stuff. So it's going to be a slow process that obviously I think people compare it a lot to England, which is obviously quite a few years in front of us for the women's game, but it's slowly growing, and as long as we keep winning trophies, more people will come because they're going to highlight the team more, and it'll just keep growing from there.
Yeah, and Carl Paul, who's having I see his computer will probably be smoking the amount of comments he's making tonight, but it's absolutely brilliant, Paul. Always glad to have you along, always glad to have you putting talking points in. It's a total sham for people that can't get to games that they're not televised enough. This has been a bugbear of mine for a long, long time. I mean, when we played home games at the training centre, most of them were televised, and training centre wasn't ideal because it wasn't big enough to kind of grow crowds, and the team probably have outgrown the training centre now, because Broadwood is bringing more folk to the party, if you like. However, we're not televising the games the same, so it's not getting the same exposure.
Yeah, I don't really get it, to be honest, because they went through all that hassle of doing it that one season, and now we've got a bigger stadium. They can set up more camera angles if they wanted to, and they're not doing it. And I get people were annoyed that the Motherwell game wasn't on TV. We're moaning it wasn't on Rangers TV. We don't stream our home games, so they're not going to stream away games, because I don't think Motherwell will be too happy about that, to be honest. But yeah, it's just annoying. I don't know why they don't set it up. It's their company, Rangers TV. It's their thing. So I don't see why they don't just set up a couple of cameras. It doesn't need to be commentary if that's the issue. They can't find somebody to do that. Just put the stream up, charge a couple of quid for it, and they'll make some money from it. It gets more eyes on it.
Yeah, I mean, Laura, that point really annoys me, because you get clubs like Hearts and Spartans who will just put them on the YouTube channel, and the coverage isn't great because it's basically just, well, I mean, I think it's at Spartans, it's just an iPhone on top of on a tripod on top of a bit of scaffold on the other side from the stand. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Somebody following it about. It's not great, but at least you can see something. At least you've got something to watch. You would think with Rangers, as Carl says, at Broadwood, there's more, and they do have highlights every game, and the highlights are decent. So they have to film every single minute of it. It can't. I don't know the cost of it. It can't be surely that expensive on a regular basis to show that, to get the games out there live, even if they are only going onto YouTube, which clearly you can't charge people for in that sort of medium. But they used to do it on Rangers TV from Broadwood, from the training centre, so I just don't see why they can't do it.
Yeah, I think at the training centre they obviously had the kind of box thing that they would be kind of sitting in that already. So like that was their excuse, like that's already there, so we're fine. But whoever, like Rebecca usually does the camera work already over the other side with her camera, and then they've got cameras like behind the goals as well for obviously their analysis and stuff. You go up to like Dundee United at Foundation Park, and they've got like their big view camera for obviously doing that analysis, but you can stream for those as well. So you can have all these kind of cameras and stuff that they could probably be streaming from. But it's obviously, I don't know why. I think we've asked multiple times why they don't, and you just kind of get ignored. But if like you say, Hearts and like Spartans and that can do it, then just put it up. Like on YouTube, or you didn't even need to put it on Rangers TV and charge a couple of quid. Put it up for free, and then people are definitely going to watch it, because they're not going to think on to put like money for this. And it gets more. It just takes a couple of people to go, oh, that was actually really good, I'm going to go along to the game now, and then the attendance can grow from there. Or also people abroad that aren't able to come and watch the games, they're going to be able to follow the team in that as well, and then you're going kind of global. Like Rangers is already global, but the women's team's going to grow that way as well. Then people might come over to watch the games, but they're not really getting that opportunity because they're getting 5-6 minute highlights the games, which doesn't really tell the story of a full game, which is annoying. But hopefully it's something that they look at, and if people just keep going on about it, hopefully they eventually listen.
Yeah, and Car, not only would streaming it on any platform, whether it's YouTube or on anything, not only would it allow more eyes on it, it would also allow potentially more sponsorship, because obviously, say for example, they put it on YouTube and they're saying they're getting a few thousand people watching every game. Sponsors are going to go, we want a bit of that.
That's too smart thinking for our club, Wolf. I don't know if they can't be bothered, if they don't have the personnel to man the cameras, or what the issue is, to be honest. But we've moaned about it on here for long enough. We moan at them about it enough times, like speaking to fan engagement or whatever they're called about it, and you just kind of get fobbed off. There's nothing we can do about it, kind of thing, which is just, it's nonsense. I don't know why they can't set it up and get it organised. But if we keep moaning about it, someday, I don't know who it was, maybe it was Paul on Twitter moaning, shame we couldn't watch it under every tweet. Like when they tweet at the Motherwell game, underneath everyone saying, "Oh, shame we can't watch it, shame we can't see it." So maybe they'll take note. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean the Motherwell game, as you said, is slightly different because obviously it was their game, so it would have been up to them probably to stream it. Although we did obviously record it because, as I say, the highlights that we always do are very, very good. So they're obviously filming it, and they've got all these, I don't know what they are, Wi-Fi areas or whatever to do it. So they must be able to do it because they did it from the training centre. So they should certainly be able to do it from Broadwood. But anyway, that's enough of that. If we're not moaning about fixtures clashing, we're moaning about not being able to see games when we can't get to them. We've got somebody moaning that it's on. It's usually on BBC Alba, but as you said, Laurie, you don't necessarily need the commentary. Commentary is always good, but you don't necessarily need it. So, Car, throw it back to you since you've just gone on the mute to get back off mute again. Get your finger working. Sunday, 12 o'clock at whatever Hamilton Accy Stadium is now called. The matter of an Old Firm game coming up. Now, the theory that I mentioned earlier was the fact that we're back scoring goals, but we hit our sticky patch when we played the teams that are in and around us, so Celtic, Glasgow City, Hibs and Hearts. That's when we hit the sticky patch. So, do you think that we're going to go back to hitting this? Do you think it's going to be sticky again because we're playing them? Is it a mentality thing? It's a bigger game, or was it just that after a decent start to the season, we were inevitably going to start running out of goals and struggling to score, and it just happened to be against them?
I mean, it could be a combination of any of those things, couldn't it? I think they're all just a bit sick of each other and needed a break, and then we've come back, changed formation. Everyone's got a bit more freedom. We're taking shots from distance again. We don't seem to be in that takes 60 passes before we try and get to the net mentality we were in before the international break. So hopefully we're just past that now, but I guess we'll find out on Sunday. But away games against them, we seem to fare pretty better. We don't seem to have that same anxiety around it when it comes to playing at Broadwood for some reason, or at Ibrox. So hopefully it's a case that they just pretend they're playing Hamilton and go out and just play with a lot of freedom and score a lot of goals.
Yeah, Laura, do you think it's going to make any difference that it's at Hamilton as opposed to where it used to be at Airdrie?
I think we've done quite well at Airdrie, to be honest. I think if we need to move from Broadwood, we should maybe go there because we seem to beat them a few times there. So, but no, I think we've also done well at Hamilton as well. So I think we should be all right. It seems to be, Valdo said that the away record's decent, but it's more at home we seem to struggle. I don't know if it's they put more pressure on themselves or if it's a mentality thing or what it is, but I'm more confident going into it because it is an away game, regardless if they were playing it outside in the local park as their kind of stadium. I think we would do better than when we're at Broadwood.
Yeah, I think the very fact we're playing them. I mean, I don't know whether at Broadwood it gets into our head because there's a bigger crowd there, and I don't really know what it is, but we do seem to struggle against them there. So, Carl, what do you think? What's your feelings on Sunday? What sort of team are we going to? We're going to stick with what we had against Motherwell. Is Joe going to shake it up? And I know it's really, really difficult to second guess Joe. I get that.
I think we'll stick with the formation. I think it'll be 4-4-2. I think it'll definitely be Wilco and Rio up top. Back four, hopefully Nick's okay, back to full fitness after a week of resting. Hopefully Kathy back in. I'd like Raf to be in the back line instead of Tess if we can do that. And obviously Leah Eddie. So Jodie will hopefully get some minutes elsewhere on the pitch if that's possible. But midfield, I think it's got to be Liv and it's got to be Innie. And then, to be fair, Charlie and Camille or Brogan and Mia, Lizzie, I think it doesn't really matter. They play quite well all together. Wingers going up the pitch, putting crosses in. So, but I think it'll probably be pretty similar to the team that started with Kathy and Raf in the back line.
Yes, Laura, what do you think? Do you think we'll stick with playing a couple of players out wide, or is she maybe going to stick an extra body in the middle of the park just to kind of show that up a little bit?
I think it would be. I would think that Jodie would actually stay in the team, and it would be more Kathy and Leah in the middle, and Nick obviously in their usual position. Then I think the midfield's going to be like Liv, Kirsty, because they're obviously getting a good partnership going. Charlie's doing really well today, so she'll probably be in there, and it's then a toss-up of Mia, Lizzie or Brogan with the other wing. And then I think you've got to stick with Wilco and Rio up front as well because of their partnership. So I think there's a few bits of headaches for her to kind of pick and choose, but I hope she just doesn't overthink it. I think sometimes she tries to outsmart them too much, and then that's when she kind of changes a bit too much and it just kind of backfires on us. So the team's fairly settled, so I wouldn't be thinking about it too much when they're doing better than they have been.
Yeah, so a couple of predictions in there. Paul with a relatively believable prediction, 2-0 Wilco and Liv. That would be nice. I think the Snipers been having a wee Monday night session, but I hope you're right. 2 for Wilco, 2 for Rio, 4-0 to the Rangers. I don't know what he's expecting in the second half, but yeah, that would certainly do. So for those that are unaware, it's 12 o'clock, as I say, on Sunday at Hamilton Accies. I'll still call it New Douglas Park because I'll always call it New Douglas Park. I've absolutely no idea what the sponsor name is. It's on Sky Sports at noon on Sunday. Half an hour build-up. Noticed that earlier before I came upstairs. 11:30 the programme starts, so a whole half-hour build-up. Tickets are available from... There's a link on the Rangers website to... What's the site that they use for tickets? Fanbase, that's the one. Confuses me because it's called Fanbase, but the slogan looks like it's an F and a J. The actual design, I think it looks like an FJ. So yeah, they're on Fanbase. I think if I remember right, I think they're a tenner each. I think, which is don't like giving them money, but it means going to watch your team. So tenner to watch an Old Firm game can't be bad. An Old Firm game we're likely to do well in as well, so that can't be too bad. What else are you going to do on a Sunday? You know, out of church early, shoot yourself down to Hamilton, and you know, get into it. So Laura, prediction for you for Sunday?
2-0 Rangers, Nick Dock, first goal scorer.
Okay, and Car?
I think it's going to be tighter. I think we probably will concede just as our track record is gone, but I think it'll end up 2-1 to the good to us. I don't know. It's going to be Rio or Wilco to score first. I'll go Rio. I'll give it to Rio.
Right, I'll go 3-0 and I'll go Charlie Devlin to score first just for a wee change. So before we go, Jack Sinclair, would it ever be the case that the women's game could be at Ibrox before the men's game? That we've talked about this before, I'm sure. From a personal point of view, I don't think they'll ever do it because it would be nice, but I think they'd rather have them as two separate fixtures because it's two separate sets of revenue. That's just my personal opinion, Laura.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And also, having seen them try it down in England, they've tried it a couple of times, and then I think Spurs done it, and there was another team that tried it, and they've never tried it again. So it obviously didn't go that well. So I think if we're kind of following suit with them, then it's unlikely to happen. Not to say it never will happen. They might try it one time, but I think they're going to kind of keep it separate. And I think putting the women's game on before it makes it kind of seem like a warm-up game, and they're better than that. They're a team in their own right that's winning things. So, no, I think keep it separate, to be honest.
Car?
I think it's too much hassle, to be honest, because the amount of people say the women's game was first and then maybe they couldn't get tickets to the men's game. You have to get those people out of the stadium to then get everyone else back into the stadium. So there'd need to be either a good few hours between them, which then it's not putting it one in front of the other. Then it's just two games at the same stadium at the same day kind of thing. I don't think they will do it because it's just too much palaver, I think.
Yeah, I think what would be nice, and it's probably not going to happen, is if we went back to New Tinto Park, because then you could have a women's game, you know, starting at 1 o'clock and the men's game starting at 3 o'clock, and you could do them both because New Tinto Park's only 10 minutes up the road. You know what I mean? But that's probably never going to go back, because I think Broadwood is quite a decent home. The parking's quite good because they've got overflow car parks and stuff like that if you need them. People are getting used to going there. It is a wee bit out the way. If you're going with public transport, it's not the easiest. That's probably the only downside of it. It would be nice if, you know, they could find a way of maybe running shuttle buses to Broadwood, but again, that would depend on kick-off times and stuff like that and demand. I mean, you guys are finding how difficult it is to run buses to the odd game here and there. You know what I mean? It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So, but anyway, that's another women's pod in the can, as they say. So, Laura, the one thing I was going to ask you, have a listen to your podcast. You said you had, going back to Saturday, meant to ask you at the time. You said you had four in your head for player of the game when you were asked on your own podcast who was your four? You mentioned two of them. Who was the other two?
Who did I say? Leah, Eddie. I think I put Wilco, Rio Hardy, and Kirsty McLean. So yeah, I had they four. I think I eventually picked Leah Eddie, but I think any four of them could have been on there, and probably a few others, to be honest.
Yeah, that's good because I thought, I mean, going back to Saturday, obviously Wilco's got a bit there because she got a hat trick. I thought Kirsty McLean was outstanding on Saturday night, but then I watched it back again and realised she wasn't really involved in many of the goals. So I thought, well, did I really see what I thought I saw? But yeah, I think I did. I'm glad she was one of your four. I'm glad she was one of your four. I didn't see who they were, so I'm glad she was one of the four. So but anyway, that's it again. So as we say, folks, we'll be back with you next Monday night, hopefully in a very good mood after taking care of the. I almost called them something I shouldn't call them. Our friends from across the city on Sunday. If you can make the game, that would be absolutely wonderful. It'd be great to see you. If you do happen to be there and see any of us, don't be shy. We don't bite very often. And if you're wanting any women's specific merchandise, I know a couple of young ladies who have always got plenty of it with them, and they'll sell you a scarf or a hat. It's getting into towards hat seasons. Their hats are very, very nice. It's not a beanie hat, is it? What is it? It's actually bobble hat. That's the one. They're actually very good, so they'll sort you out with them if you see them about the place. And if you're not going to the game, if you can't make it, this one is on the TV. As we say, it is on Sky Sports. Program starts at 11:30. It's on at noon. I'm not sure if Sky Sports are double heading. I don't know if they're showing the Edinburgh Derby later in the day or not. Oh no, they're not because BBC Alba's got that one, I think. So, but anyway, they get the big one out of the way first. So lunchtime on Sunday, and I'm waffling now. So I'm going to say good night, and we'll see you all next Monday.